Hello everybody, and today we'll be discussing born global firms in under 5 minutes. Born global firms are defined as firms which, from their initial conception, pursue visions of becoming global and globalize rapidly without any preceding long-term domestic internationalization period. Born global firms get their competitive advantages from the use of resources and sales of outputs in multiple countries from a very early stage. Born global firms have the following characteristics. They are typically a subset of small-medium enterprises with less than 500 employees and small volumes of sales, typically equating to under $100 million. Born global firms also view the world as a single, borderless marketplace. They are oftentimes small, technology-orientated companies such as Skype or Spotify, and most times they are pushed into globalization by their domestic markets being too small, or contrastingly, they may be appealing to global consumers from the outset. Additionally, they target niche consumer segments and do not try to appeal to the mass market. They often possess dynamic capabilities, and this is a concept outlined by Thies, which I have covered in a previous video. And lastly, born global firms rely heavily upon leveraging their networks. Oftentimes, the CEO has studied abroad, or the top-level employees have previous international work experience. Moving forward, born global firms are notorious for challenging traditional IB theory, beginning with the Uppsala model, which assumed firms built their network and experience over time and internationalized in slow stages, whereas born global firms tend to recruit internationally and immediately enter markets, enabling born global firms to bypass psychic distance. Essentially, the increasingly globalized economy of various countries mean that psychic distances are becoming less relevant. As I previously mentioned, the CEO could have worked abroad or hired employees in foreign countries, which decreases the importance of psychic distances. Psychic distance was once assumed to be the most significant determinant for internationalization under the Uppsala model, but the born global firm essentially bypasses this. As you can see, under the Uppsala model, Spotify would have internationalized into the closest countries first, the most psychically similar, and eventually reached from Sweden to Denmark to Finland, and then all the way over to Greenland. However, now many industries are characterized by global sourcing activities and international networks, which enables innovative products to spread globally very quickly, or launch in multiple countries at once, as demonstrated with how Spotify actually internationalized. It went immediately from Sweden into all neighboring countries. Additionally, the transaction cost theory assumes companies internationalize based upon whether it is cheaper to conduct transactions internally within the firm or externally within the market. Likewise, the eclectic paradigm assumes firms to internationalize dependent upon ownership, locational, and internationalization advantages. For further information on these, please refer to a previous video just on the screen now, where I covered the concept in under 5 minutes. But born global firms contrast against these two theories because internationalization is based upon networks and market knowledge, since products are intangible and do not rely heavily upon external market transactions, asset ownership, or location-specific advantages. There exist several examples of born global firms. Now, most of these are digital, as it is far easier to reach a global audience using intangible products that don't require transportation or physical retail presences. For example, Tinder, Skype, and Spotify. However, there are several non-digital examples, such as Red Bull, EasyJet, and Xiaomi. So, to summarize, born global firms are companies that, upon establishment, begin a period of rapid global expansion. These are often small technology companies targeting niche consumer segments around the world. They rely on small volumes of sales and the leveraging of networks, which challenges traditional IB theories such as the Uppsala model, transaction cost theory, and the eclectic paradigm. And lastly, most born global firms are digital companies, given the product's intangible nature and lack of necessity for a physical store presence. That's everything for today's video, and I will be seeing you next week where we cover new institutional economics.